Anthropic just made their most powerful everyday AI model free to use on Claude AI. So Claude Sonnet 4.6 just dropped. And if you use AI to run your business, you need to stop what you're doing right now. Here's the crazy part. Anthropic just dropped Sonnet 4.6. It's got a huge upgrade. It's available for free. And we're talking about a model that can now use your computer, click buttons, fill out forms, navigate websites, complete tasks on its own without you touching it. But that's not even the wild part. The wild part is the benchmark scores just came in, and Claude Sonnet 4.6 is now performing at basically the same level as one of their most powerful models, Opus, which costs 5 times more. Same power, fraction of the price, and it's free to get started. Developers who tested it early said they preferred the old model, they preferred Sonnet over the old model 70% of the time. They even preferred it over Opus, the most expensive model Anthropic makes, 59% of the time. That means right now you have access to one of the most powerful AI models ever built for free on your phone or laptop. But here's what nobody else is telling you. Most people are still using it like a fancy Google search. You type a question, they get an answer, they close the tab. That's like buying a Ferrari and only driving it in a parking lot. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use Claude Sonnet 4.6 the right way as an agent, a system, something that does work whilst you sleep. I've got a 30-day blueprint, 1,000 ready-to-use prompts, and live demos you won't believe until you see them with your own eyes. This is the most important AI update of this month so far. Let's get straight into it. So you can see Claude Sonnet 4.6 is very heavily focused on computer usage. So you can see how it works right here. And one of the most interesting things is the evolution of Claude Sonnet's computer use. So you can see previously when Claude Sonnet 3.5 came out, computer use was pretty poor. Now, this is OS World verified score over time, which basically grades how good an AI is at using a computer. And you can see previously it was at 14.9, then it went up to 28 with Sonnet 3.7, then it went to 42.2 with Sonnet 4. After that, it went to Sonnet 4.5, and that was at 61.4. And now we have Sonnet 4.6, which is a huge step up, and it's gone in just a space of 16 months from 14.9% on the score to 72.5%. Think about the evolution of that and what that means. That means the AI is getting better and better with every single upgrade at using a computer until the point where it'll probably, be better. It would be better than most humans using it. So this is one of the most powerful updates we've seen. You can see the upgrades right here in terms of how it scores on benchmarks. Usually I don't really care about this, but the main thing you want to focus on here is that it's very powerful at agentic terminal coding. And a lot of developers, as I said before, prefer using Sonnet over Opus, which is very interesting, right? You also got scores on agentic coding, and it is right up there with Opus 4.5. So you can see 79.6% versus 80.9%. Opus 4.6, 80.8%. I mean, the margins there are so small and they're so thin when it comes to comparing these models. And then you can see as well, one of the interesting things here is like if you're using, for example, Opus, I think it costs 5 times more than using something like Sonnet 4.6. So it's a lot cheaper to use, especially if you're using something like OpenClaw, which means that if you're generating tasks and you're using the API from Claude, well, you can have something that's at a comparable level, but for 5 times cheaper, which makes sense, right? That sounds way better to me as a deal. So that's basically what we're doing. Let's see what we got here on the comments. So ClickStanger says, yes, we miss you, boss. Good to see you here. NG Bot says, miss you, boss. Good to see you too. And then we got Pippo who says, question, which models are you using for the processing in OpenClaw? So if I've been using ChatGPT Codex. Codex is pretty good. I did try Claude, but wow, the API tokens they use are insane. Literally, it's absolutely wild how many tokens it uses up. I just don't think it makes sense for most people, to be honest. And then also you can use stuff like, for example, KimiClaw. KimiClaw is a lot cheaper, or you can use Kimi K2.5 with OpenClaw as well. So yeah, that's basically how we can use these things. Now, let's talk about a game plan here, right? So if we were talking about Claude 4.6 Sonnet, if you want to get access to this for free, you can go over to Claude AI over here. You can get all the notes from today, by the way, inside the AI Profit Boarding. And basically, what you want to do is switch over to Sonnet 4.6 Extended Thinking. So you can basically type in whatever you want over here. So let's say, for example, we want to build a website for the AI Profit Boarding, which is my AI automation community. We can take all the information from this page on the website, as you can see. Then we can switch back to Claude Sonnet. We're going to paste in that information from the website that's existing already. And then we can say, create a beautiful dopamine inducing website using the information attached as a landing page, right? Something like that. And basically that'll use the information that you've given it to start building with Sonnet. Now, the main thing to note here is that you can build tools, apps, websites, landing pages, lead magnets, etc. using Sonnet. So you can use this for free. It is available within certain limits, and then you can go off and build whatever you want using this. So this is exactly how it works step by step. Kapuri says, OMG, we are so cooked. And LinkedIn user says, from Pakistan, good to see it. All right, so this is basically how it works step by step. Now, let's run through some of the notes today. I've created what I would call the Goldie Sonnet system, a 30-day blueprint for mastering this stuff. Now, if you're wondering, okay, what is Claude Sonnet 4.6? It's Anthropic's latest AI model, right? It's an agent. That means instead of just answering your questions, it can now use tools autonomously, operate inside websites, browsers, and interfaces. It can complete multi-step tasks, connect to your system via API, right? And it's smart enough to reason through complex problems, fast enough to use in production, and available right now for free. Now, let's talk about the Sonnet system. So the Goldie Sonnet system is a 30-day framework to go from knowing Claude exists to having it do real, repeatable work inside your business automatically, right? And the core idea is simple. You don't need to do more work. You need to build systems that work, whilst you're going off and doing whatever you like to do. So I've actually built out a 30-day roadmap inside the AI Profit Board, and we actually update this daily, like you can see. So we add new updates every single day inside here. Let's run through some of the beginning frameworks of this. So you can get access at Claude AI. And then if you want to start using this, you could actually start getting it to, for example, connect to NA10. You could build your first NA10 automation with Claude as well. You could build your first website, like you can see over here. It's coding out this website as so. You could even, for example, use this to build out lead magnets or that sort of thing as well. So the main thing to note here is like anything that you're doing or working on currently, look at ways that you could automate that with AI. That's the best starting place right here. And if you want to get a 30-day plan for that, you know where to go. So some people are going to say, okay, Claude is just a chatbot, but bear in mind, Claude is not just another chatbot. It's not the same as ChatGPT. Claude Sonnet is a reasoning engine that can operate tools, use computers, and run autonomously inside workflows. It's not a chatbot; it's an infrastructure, right? You can use this with, for example, like Claude Cowork and things like that. Like if we open up the Claude desktop version of this, so let's pull that up. And we'll take a look at Claude here. We can use Sonnet 4.6 inside Claude Cowork, right? And then you can have it connect to your local files. You can have it start building locally. You can have it code for you, or you can use the chat directly as well. So it's a really powerful tool. Also, bear in mind, like it's going to use less tokens than most of the other stuff as well. So pretty powerful stuff right there. And now we've got the preview of the website, as you can see right here. It looks pretty cool, pretty interesting. The way that it's done is looking really cool. We can also deploy that as well. So I can click on Share Artifact here. Go back over to Claude, copy this link. And then boom, we have a website that we've just automated whilst I was talking to you, right? For the AI Profit Boarding. The design is pretty nice. It's taken all the information that we've given it. It's designed it nicely. It's added icons and that sort of thing. This cool little like this mouse that follows us around as well. If we scroll down here, it's beautifully designed. I do think it's honestly everything that I've tested is at the same level as Opus, right? It's at the same level as Opus, but the difference here is it's free and it's available for anyone. And even if you're using the API, it's going to cost 5 times less than Opus directly. So I do think it's a big upgrade in terms of, number one, just being available for everyone, and number two, like the quality of the outputs are really, really nice, as you can see right here. Mehdi says Claude Sonnet is strong for writing and automation. I'd agree with that. Pippo says, sorry again to ask, and do you have like an SP? I assume you mean an SOP. If that's correct, then check out the AI Profit Boardroom for a full SOP on using OpenClaw. You can see we have a 6-hour course on how to use this, and we have tons of training on OpenClaw and everything that I've learned about it inside the AI Profit Boardroom, like you see right here. So every time I learn something new about AI Profit Boardroom and about OpenClaw, etc., I add it inside this section right here, as you can see. Do I like it more than anti-gravity? I think that Sonnet is going to be just really, really powerful inside anti-gravity, right? So I don't think like you choose between Sonnet or anti-gravity. I think that when you want to vibe code something out and code locally, you can use anti-gravity, and then you'll be able to use Sonnet directly inside anti-gravity. Now, having said that, if we go over to anti-gravity, I don't think the new update is going to be available unless they've moved really fast. So usually it takes a few days for anti-gravity to integrate the new APIs. So for example, at Opus, it was available a few days later after Opus 4.6 was released. So I don't think Sonnet is available inside anti-gravity just yet, but when it is, it'll be awesome. Special plan, just regular plan. Yeah. Is there a skill to optimize token usage in OpenClaw? There is, but you got to be careful what skills you insert directly inside there. And then Fact says Grok 4.2 would be even better to see. I would agree, but it's only available to certain users, and I have not been invited to test it out. So it's not available for everyone to test. And I think as well, the thing to note here is like, if you're using like Claude Sonnet like this, well, this is actually available to everyone in the world right now. If I show a video about Grok 4.2, the problem is it's not available to everyone. It'd be kind of frustrating, I think, for people to watch this without access. So that's basically it for Claude Sonnet and the new update. I've shown you how to build with it. I've shown you how to get access. I've shown you why it's important. I've shown you the steps up in computer use and everything else. I also have 100 prompts for Sonnet inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And for every new tool that comes out, we had like 100 prompts. So like if you want to test this stuff out, you can check it out right here. Let's talk about, for example, let's just recap on what we've learned today. All right, so you've learned what Claude Sonnet 4.6 is. It's not a chatbot. It's an agent, a reasoning engine that can use tools, operate computers, and run autonomously inside your business workflows. The Goldie Sonnet system, I've shown you a 30-day framework to go from beginner to having real automations running inside your business using free tools, giving you the 30-day plan. And then let's talk about some of the empowering beliefs. So some people say, well, I'm not technical enough, but literally all you do is you go over to Claude and you say, okay, automate this or build this or create this, right? Like you don't need to be a coder to do this. You might think everyone else is ahead, but the difference here is like, if you're watching this, you're probably in the top 1% of people who understand the new updates from Claude. Other people say, well, the output is not good enough. Actually, if you look at the output, this is better than the existing website that I already have for this project. And we just created it whilst I was talking to you. Other people say, well, AI is going to replace me. I don't think that's the case at all. I do think that people who don't use AI and don't know how to use AI will be replaced with people who do know how to use AI, because your output, if you can use AI and AI automation, is going to be 10 to 100 times higher. Right? So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to all this stuff, you can get it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comment description, or go to aiprofitboardroom.com. You can post your questions inside the community, like you see right here. It's super active with 2,400 members. We have a daily accountability group, so you can post your goals in case you feel like you've got information overload or shiny object syndrome or anything like that, right? Cully says, Sonnet for coding, is it great? It is great indeed. I'm loving it so far. Gemini 3.1, when released in Sonnet 5, who knows? Who knows when those are coming out? But I do think I think I remember seeing a tweet today that was saying that Gemini might be coming out during the next Google I/O announcement. So that'll be super interesting if that comes out. Fact says the model is truly something. I would agree. And then Eric says, I will join the school Friday. Excited to dive into your work. Thanks for the value. Happy to. And also inside here as well, you will get the 4 weekly video coaching course. So you can jump on these coaching calls, meet the community, ask questions in real time. You can meet people in your local area just by going onto the map, clicking into your area, and then you can DM people, meet people, etc. And also inside the classroom here, I update this community every single day with new updates. You can see we've added 3 guides today, 3 guides yesterday on all the new cool latest stuff that's going on. Inside the 6-week automation masterclass, you can go from beginner to expert with AI and learn how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes. You'll also get my personal playbooks on the stuff that I automate inside my business. So, for example, shorts, AI avatar videos, newsletters, Twitter, etc. All my best playbooks are inside here. If you want to learn how to get more clients for your agency, you can watch the agency course. If you want to watch about the coaching calls, you can watch them here. If you want to learn how to grow a YouTube channel with AI, we've got a full roadmap based on what's working for me. And that's all inside here, as you can see. Thanks for watching. LinkedIn News says how to make a HTML, JavaScript, and CSS website in Claude to use in WordPress for later development. So literally all you do is you just go over to Claude, chats, new chat, tell it what you want. I don't think you even need to separate the CSS and the JS. Like you can just get everything in one HTML file, and then you would just tell it exactly what you want. So if we have a look at that website that we just built, like this, you can grab and copy the HTML from the code section here, and then paste that into WordPress later whenever you need it, right? That's basically how you do it. And then you just add it as a code block later inside WordPress. So it's super simple, but that's exactly how you do it. OpenClaw may have just got the most powerful brain upgrade in its entire history with the new release of Claude Sonnet 4.6, and almost nobody is talking about it yet. Now, here's what it means for you. So OpenClaw is a free AI agent that can run on your computer. It's not a chatbot. It's an agent, meaning it doesn't just answer your questions. It actually does things, searches webs, builds tools, finds leads, writes code, operates whilst you sleep, etc. Until yesterday, running OpenClaw probably was expensive, right? If you wanted to use one of the best APIs in the world, for example, Claude Opus 4.6, well, that costs 5 times more than the new release of Claude Sonnet 4.6. And the craziest thing about this is in tests, developers actually said that 59% of the time they prefer using Claude Sonnet, the cheaper model that just came out today from Claude, versus Opus 4.6. So you get the same power, but for a fraction of the price. That means you can run OpenClaw 5 times longer on 5 times more tasks for the same amount you were spending before. Now, think about what that actually means. You could have OpenClaw running every night, building apps, researching leads, tracking competitors, updating your systems without the same issues with tokens. And the whole thing starts completely free if you want. So you could, for example, even just set up OpenClaw with a local model, like, for example, Kimi K2.5. And with that running through Llama, I've got videos on YouTube about this, you could actually run it for free as long as you stick within the token limits. And if you want to take it to a whole new level, you would use something like Claude Sonnet 4.6. So we're going to be building stuff live on screen today, talking through how it works, etc. And we'll run you through how the whole process runs. Top Shelf says, loving all the content, extra game. Thank you very much, sir. We're going to run through what this actually means for you. Now, let's talk about it. Okay, so why would you use Sonnet 4.6 instead of Opus for OpenClaw? Well, if you're running OpenClaw and you're still defaulting to Opus, you're almost certainly overpaying for like zero real world benefit. And here's the full breakdown, right? So if you look at the cost difference here, Sonnet 4.6 costs this, right? Opus costs this, right? That's a huge difference. 3 versus 15. That's a 5x price difference, right? So for every one that you spend on Sonnet, you spend like 5 on Opus to do exactly the same task, right? It gets expensive. OpenClaw makes a lot of API calls, and computer use agents particularly are token heavy by nature. Every screenshot, every action, every decision loop burns tokens. At scale, the maths becomes brutal. Now, with the new update from Sonnet, you basically get something for 5 times cheaper. All right, think about that as a percentage. It's huge, and this is the key difference that most people miss: is that the performance gap is basically gone. Now, Sonnet 4.6 didn't just get cheaper in tokens; it caught up to Opus on the benchmarks that actually matter for OpenClaw. What do they mean? Well, for example, computer use, OS World Verified. Sonnet 4.6 scores 72.5%. That is a new update today. Opus 4.6 scores 72.7%. That's a 0.2% difference, functionally identical for browser automation and desktop interactions. That means you get the same power, but you're not paying for the same amounts, right? The same for coding, for example. Sonnet 4.6 scores 79.6%. Opus hits 80.8%. Honestly, in the real world, the difference is very, very negligible. Office tasks as well. You can see here, Sonnet 4.6 actually beats Opus here. 1,633 ELO versus 1,559. Pretty crazy. And the one area Opus genuinely leads is hard abstract reasoning. And that's not really what OpenClaw is built for, right? OpenClaw is navigating interfaces, clicking buttons, filling forms, executing multi-step web tasks and sub-agents. Sonnet 4.6 is essentially Opus tier for all of that, right? So if you're not using Sonnet 4.6 yet for OpenClaw, this is definitely worth checking out, all right? Now, also, OpenClaw's core workflow is computer use. Now, not just that, but also, for example, you've got stuff like, for example, you've got computer use, which is using the browser and that sort of thing, but you also got sub agents inside there. Now, for context, the new update from Sonnet scored 72.5% on OS World tests in computer usage, and that is up from a previous score of 61.4%, right? That's an 11-point improvement. Now, for context, Sonnet 3.5 scored 14.9% on the same benchmark 16 months ago. So the score for Sonnet in just a space of 16 months has nearly quintupled for computer usage, right? And also, it runs faster and costs less and you can run more parallel agents, more automation loops, and longer sessions, right? With Opus, every extra automation you use is like 5x the amount, right? So it's a huge difference really when you look at it. The only time that you would actually use something like Opus over 4.6 is if you're doing extremely deep multi-step reasoning tasks. Think, for example, mathematical proof, complex legal analysis, hard abstract solving, browser automation, form filling, web scraping, task agents, etc. OpenClaw does day to day, right? And all this stuff you can do with Sonnet 4.6, if that makes sense. Now, that's the thing. So Merlin says, if you make Sonnet 4.6 your default, when would you use Opus 4.6? So again, you would just use it with abstract reasoning tasks, right? So if you're doing some complicated maths, some really deep abstract problem solving, some legal analysis, etc., you might use something like Opus 4.6. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to be using Sonnet, right? And this is something that most people don't realize. They just think, oh, Opus 4.6 is the most powerful. Let's use that. But it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. So the bottom line is Sonnet 4.6 plus OpenClaw is 5 times cheaper, near identical computer use performance, faster execution, and more headroom to scale your automations without smashing through tokens, right? And Opus is basically like a legacy default at this point. So if you want to use OpenClaw the smart way, you would use something like Sonnet 4.6 and just save your tokens. All right. And just to put this in perspective, let's check this out on OpenRouter, for example. So we explore the models here. This is Claude Sonnet. So you can see it's now got 1 million token context window as well. And if we compare this side by side versus something like, for example, Claude Opus, you can see the differences here, right? So for example, and if we go to as well the announcement on Anthropic's website, so if we share this tab, for example, you can see here, you've got Claude Sonnet 4.6 at $3 versus, for example, Opus 4.5, which is at $5. Opus 4.1 and Opus 4 were at 15 before. All right, so that's a big difference. Now, Opus 4.6, it is still cheaper than using something like Opus 4.1 or Opus 4, but the biggest difference is here. You can see the huge difference in pricing here. So yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Can you suggest what prompt we have to use to try to fill forms? Yeah, so it's the same prompt really. Like you're looking at the same prompts as before, but the difference is it's the quality and computer usage that you want to be looking at, right? So if you look at that jump between 61% and 72% now, you can use the same prompts, but the results of the computer usage will be much more accurate, if that makes sense. Any solution for OpenRouter API integration into the Mimu bot? I think I can't remember previously what I used. I think I might have used a llama or something like that. But we've got training inside the AI profit boardroom if you need to check that stuff out and research it, etc. So thanks so much for watching. What I've actually done is create a full guide on this inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description, or go to aiprofitboardroom.com. We walk you through a full 30-day blueprint on how to use OpenClaw with Claude Sonnet. And also, we talk you through something called the Goldie Agent Stack, which is a 30-day complete OpenClaw and Claude Sonnet 4.6 blueprint on how to use this stuff. We also have a full 6-hour course on OpenClaw, and we update this community with all the new updates on OpenClaw that we learned. So, for example, recently I tested KimiClaw, and then I created a full tutorial on that. I've also tested Manus agents and created a full tutorial on exactly how that works too. And also, you can see here, for example, we have another 3-hour course on mobile. So if you want to learn how to use OpenClaw and everything else, feel free to get that link in the comments description, or go to the arprofitboardroom.com. This also comes with a supportive community with 2,400 members, so you can post inside the community, get help, get support whenever you need it. You can see that we have a daily accountability group on this stuff as well, so you can ask questions and stay laser focused on your goals. We do 4 weekly coaching calls, so you can jump on 4 weekly coaching calls and get help in real time. And also inside the classroom, you get all of my best training. So for example, if you want to go from beginner to expert with AI automation in just 5 weeks, plus learn how to build your first AI agent in under 5 minutes, you can get that right here. If you want to get my daily updates, you can check that out here. If you want to learn, for example, how I automate X, Shorts, Instagram, AI avatar videos, etc., that's all inside the AI Profit Boardroom too. And then additionally, if you want to learn, for example, how to get more clients for your agency, you can check out our course here. If you can't make the coaching course, you can watch them back there. And then also, if you want to learn, for example, how to grow a YouTube channel based on what's working for me, you can get that right here. Plus, we have a full section on AI SEO and how to rank #1 inside AI and other search engines. So that's link in the comments description, or go to the aiprofitboardroom.com. Pippo says, do you have a course on how to configure OpenClaw? Wait, yeah. So if you check this out, for example, you can go inside the classroom here. And then if you go to, let's have a look here. SOP updates, we actually show you multiple different ways you can use this for free, right? So for example, if you go to the Olama section, we show you how to use Kimi K 2.5 with Olama and OpenClaw for free. So that's one option. The other option that you have is you have Minimax M 2.5. Now you can get the coding plan for free on OpenClaw as well that way. So that is another free way to use it. The other option that you have is you have Codex So OpenAI Codex, that is free for a limited time only, and you can use that with OpenClaw. You can even get it to set up OpenClaw for you. And then the final method that I discovered recently was I think it was so you have Minimax, ChatGPT Codex, Kimi K 2.5, and there was one more, but I can't remember the name of it now. But yeah, it's all inside the AI profit boarding directly. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. See you on the next one. Cheers. Bye bye. Oh, Pony Alpha. That's it. Before we go, yeah. So it was Pony Alpha. Click Stanger, you're an absolute legend. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for helping out there. Yeah, so Pony Alpha is method number 4. Cheers for watching. Bye bye.